Pascal's wager is a simple bet that many people base their entire lives on when they aren't sure if God exists. It's named after the 16th century mathematician, physicist, philosopher, and writer Blaise Pascal, who proposed the idea. And the wager works like this. In case you aren't sure if God exists, and more importantly, if you're afraid of burning in hell, since that's really the motivating factor for believing in God, particularly the Judeo-Christian God Blaise Pascal was referring to, then the rational thing to do is to believe in God and live your life as if He does exist. That way, in case God is real, you get to go to heaven instead of burning in hell forever. But if God isn't real in the end, then you just sacrifice some pleasures and luxuries that were forbidden in the Bible, and whatever, no big deal, right? Actually, it is kind of a big deal to live a life of a cowardly, fraudulent, moral character where you're only being good because you're afraid of some demonstrably false boogeyman. At this point in history, we can and need to say with certainty that all gods are false, past and present. And here's one simple way to tell you're being forced to believe something that isn't true. There's always a threat. If you don't accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, you're burning in hell. If you don't believe Muhammad is the ultimate prophet of God, they'll kill you. If you choose to live outside your assigned role in the Hindu caste system, you'll be a cockroach for 1,000 years or whatever they believe. And by the way, this also works for so many other things in life. If someone is shaming you or guilting you or giving you an ultimatum about believing in something that requires your time and effort but isn't exactly to your benefit, but it is to the benefit of the person threatening you, chances are you're being manipulated. Yet you'll never hear a scientist threaten people with their hypotheses. Einstein didn't threaten people to believe in his theories of special or general relativity. He actually welcomed fellow scientists to challenge his ideas. And to this day, they're still open to be disproven. And this is why when religious relatives and friends ask me why I would believe certain scientific principles I can't even explain myself instead of religion, it's because, first of all, scientists don't threaten me to believe them, especially since they don't need to when they provide evidence, not to mention when their ideas actually work, and to everyone's benefit. It's amazing this isn't pointed out enough. How the very threat of hell is the telltale sign that you're being lied to. And considering how much religions forbid some of the most natural urges and drives within us, you might also be denying your true nature and potential if you take on Pascal's wager that ultimately is just exploiting people's most primal fear of death. By the way, which God will you live your life according to? Because there's many gods. And don't kid yourself that the God of Judaism is the same God of Christianity or the God of Islam, let alone the numerous gods of Hinduism. They're not the same God with a different name. They're all different gods with different messiahs and prophets with very different rules and regulations, and it's impossible to follow them all at the same time. Even as a Christian, you can't be both Catholic and Protestant. And therein lies the ultimate conundrum of this centuries-old bet that many people still base their lives on today. People I know who've even told me recently, which was the inspiration for this video, and they didn't even realize that it's called Pascal's wager. That's how universal our fear of death can be. And I hope I'm not coming across as judgmental. I don't want to judge anyone any more than an imaginary God would. As a matter of fact, the point of this video, aside from getting new subscribers and a like and a possible buyer for this original artwork of mine, is to help people finally get rid of these irrational fears that cause them to live their lives guided by some magical daddy in the sky watching them at all times. And the cruelest aspect of it all is the belief that this God has some special divine plan for you, but it's a mystery, and you need to pay attention to all the cryptic cookie crumbles he leaves around for you, because you never know what's a sign and you never know what's a test. And this is how people make colossal mistakes and turn their entire lives upside down when they don't have to. How many unwanted pregnancies result in a child living in a broken home because their parents thought the kid was a sign from God? How many wars are still being fought because entire nations are led to believe that a tyrant was put in charge because of God? And we also need to get past the nonsense that some people are just twisting God's words and misinterpreting His plans. There never was a God talking to people through the Bible or the Quran or the Upanishads. There never was some supreme being acting coy and mysterious, hoping people would somehow, some way, figure out His almighty grand plan that one day would be revealed. That way of thinking has been nothing more than the deliberate exploitation by manipulative opportunists trying to control others. And since we're not all created equally, the sad fact is not enough people can see through it. And this is how people have fallen prey to false prophecies like the end of the world was going to happen on May 21st, 2011, or leaving their lives and entire families behind and moving to Guyana, South America, to then commit mass suicide because a psychopath like Jim Jones told them that was God's plan. We can say with confidence, and even through science, there is no divine plan any more than the earth was going to end on May 21st, 2011. This is what religion does to most people's brains, and this is why gods exist but aren't real. Every single god known to man has been nothing short of a personification reflex of the human mind to anthropomorphize forces of nature we can't understand or control, namely the ones that can kill us. For example, there was a time people didn't understand thunder, so they created Thor, the god of thunder. And every week we still honor him every time we say the word Thursday, which is named after him. Yet interestingly enough, there remains some people who must believe in Thor, because there is one egomaniac who claims to be a direct descendant of him. And there's enough vulnerable, desperate people who believe him because they need direction in life. It's such a shame that we can be so easily manipulated by our fears, namely of death, or simply the fear of missing out on a false promise of heaven, whether in the afterlife or here on earth, that even communist dictators have managed to dangle as a political secular version of Pascal's wager. This is how so many people get taken advantage of, by betting on the wrong idea, much like millions of people bet on the wrong numbers in the lottery or a roulette wheel. But at least with the state lotteries and casinos in Las Vegas, there are people who do win from time to time. But I don't think anyone wins when they are deprived of knowing their true character and ultimate potential because they live in fear of imaginary gods and underworlds that aren't any more real than the ancient mythologies they're based on. If I got anything wrong in this video, please let me know in the comments below. But if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for upcoming videos, and check out the links below for my original art and merchandise. And thanks for watching.